Hi, and welcome to this episode of The Hot Seat. We have a very special guest. We're excited to have Denny Mills in the building today. Denny came over to kind of tour the facility and see John Jones. John was doing some stuff for him, and he was really taken aback by all the stuff we have here at UniTec. Didn't know we had all these programs. Was excited, and Jason Lowry and myself and Mr. Marler lassoed him, roped him, brought him down here to put him in the hot seat because 44 years total in education, correct?
Yes.
How many? You told us earlier that you counted up the number of students that you've had in class.
Well, that's a little over 5,000.
5,000 students. Okay, that's something to be proud of. All right, you've seen most of the episodes.
I have seen them.
Okay, so we're going to run you through about 20 questions here, and we'll see how you do with them. All right. First one: favorite referee that you ever had to deal with while you were coaching, whether it be football, basketball, baseball, umpire, referee?
That'd be a toss-up between Paul Fitzwater, Rick Hart, and Bill Stotler.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All three
Yeah.
great refs and,
Oh.
and umpires as well, a couple of them.
Most stories that we shouldn't talk about.
Can't tell some of those, okay? We won't tell some of your baseball bus driving stories.
Oh.
We'll leave some of those.
We definitely
off.
leave those out.
Okay. Shout out to a couple of your favorite co-workers you worked with over the years at Central, because you were there for a long time. You went through a lot of different people.
Oh, wow. All the way from the beginning, I was so lucky when I started to have people like Shirley Clemens and Les Hahn, and it just goes on and on.
Right.
To every campus that I ended up at, they were all just wonderful, wonderful people. I ended up, that's where I met my best friend, Mark Hardy, that we hooked up over at Elvin's, and to this day, he's my best friend. And but there were so many, and the kids were so wonderful for so many years that I had to be the most blessed person on earth.
I know that was a great group. When you mentioned Mark Hardy, I know for a while I was with you guys and Jim Sherrill, all those guys in the middle school, Denny Norris, all those guys came through middle school, West Elementary. You've worked on a bunch of campuses. What was your favorite Central campus?
Oh, wow. They were all just the same. I mean, everywhere I went, I ended up at the high school, and that was wonderful. I'd coached high school kids, but I hadn't taught high school kids. And with that careers class, that was a blast.
Really enjoyed that.
They were really, really, really wonderful to be with. But, all the way back to the sixth graders, it's just
so every campus you had positive experiences.
Oh,
every
nothing
place.
but all my principals.
I was a West Elementary guy. If I had to pick my favorite campus when I worked there, it was West Elementary, the old Elvin's group. That was a good
That's
group
when I
of
worked
people.
for Pete Webb.
Yeah.
And boy,
Not a better guy to work for.
well, and then he was followed by Jim Sherrill, and all my principals were
guys.
just super.
Great guys. Pete Webb would ride me pretty hard. He was always on everybody. He demanded perfection. Did he not?
He did, but there was a time or two that we had a difference.
Right.
And at the end of the day, though, he would always call me in the office, and he never wanted me to leave without thinking that something was wrong.
Right.
It was just an in the moment,
Right.
like we all do.
Get through it, get over it, start over tomorrow.
Yeah, and
Great.
But it was super.
Okay. How about a couple former students that you're really proud of?
Oh, wow.
Anybody you can think of that you're just super proud of?
Just popping into mind, I just saw Josh Johnson yesterday. He's in middle school assistant principal. Dr. Rodney Gross. It's I think out in Arizona now. And gosh, Scott, from the beginning to the very end, every year was a blessing.
Okay. Best Central athlete you ever saw?
Ooh.
We've had this discussion with North County guys, with Central guys. I've got my own opinion of who it is. I want to see who yours is because, in my era, there was a lot of those guys, but there was one that just stood out to me.
Well, it couldn't be. It'd have to be Mark Baker, Bo Kennedy, and the Best brothers. You know,
I
well, and then I played with the guy, Gary Myers, who was on Bo and Mark's level. And he made it to AAA with the Cincinnati Reds. And so, you know, those guys, those five, but there were so many others. But, you know, they got there. They got to the next level and played well at the next level.
I would have said Mark Baker. I think Mark Baker, to me, it was, you know, he was just could do anything. I don't care if you're playing tetherball. Mark Baker's the best tetherball player you've got out there playing. Bo, obviously, good choice. I'm going to say Mark because Mark never intentionally hit me with a pitch, and Bo did. So I'm going to say Mark Baker, and I'm not sure that your Bouchard didn't have something to do with him hitting me with that pitch. So we're going to move on from there. That's for you, Bo Kennedy. How about your favorite genre of music? Because you're a big music guy. You love to play. You can play music. You can sing. We've done a bunch of stuff together where we sit around with Hardy.
The last time I sang, I got 3 requests. They said, "Shut up, get out, and don't come back." But my favorite genre would be oldies.
Oldies. Is it old country or oldies in general?
Both oldies and you know.
Okay. This is going to be a really tough question for you, but I want you to be as honest as you can. Who's the better coach? Denny Mills, Zach Mills, or Chad Mills?
Well, I come in third. I have just, it's been such a blessing to watch both of them take the paths that they have. And I know that the impressions that they've left on kids. And I couldn't say.
They're tied, but you're third.
They're tied and I'm third.
Okay.
That's,
all right.
By a long shot.
We can go a distant third. Who's the most famous person you ever met?
Jackie Smith.
Jackie Smith.
And Larry Wilson.
Jackie Smith.
Larry Wilson. Yeah.
I have a great Jackie Smith story, and we'll make it quick. But you know, we were at the World Series of baseball trivia one year, and Jackie Smith was there, and Ozzie was there. A bunch of guys were there from the Hall of Fame, and they were giving us our trophies at the end. It was at the Dome, and they were handing out the trophies, and my buddy Scott Yates and his friend, they started to hand him. We were taking our picture. We were having these guys hold our trophies, and they handed it to Jackie Smith, and Scott said, "No, you'll drop it." And it was late in the evening, so Jackie took it pretty well. But I always thought that was, you know, he made that big drop in the Super, cost him a chance at the Super Bowl there, in Dallas. How about? You mentioned a couple of these guys already. Favorite administrator you had to work with?
Oh, wow. I'd say Pete.
Pete Webb.
He was, but
You know,
they
Pete
were all
Webb,
good.
Jim. You mentioned Jim Sherrill. Not a
Yep.
more honest guy you'll ever meet than Jim Sherrill.
Yep.
So yeah, very good selections there.
Yep.
What kind of car did you drive when you were in high school? When Denny Mills was on the prowl, what kind of car did you drive?
I painted my uncle's house, and he gave me a 1950 Studebaker.
Studebaker. What color was it?
It had been painted a light blue. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A baby blue Studebaker.
Yeah.
All right. Good answer there. What's some of your favorite local restaurants?
Oh, wow. I like all of them, but I sure like the fried pickles out at Spokes.
Oh yeah, they have I've been out there a long time. They have some good fried pickles.
Excellent.
All right. Next time I go there, I'll take you. We'll go. I'll pay. What was your favorite subject in school? Bell's going to catch us. We'll play through it. Favorite subject in school when you were in school as a student?
I'd say history.
You were a history guy?
Yeah.
Okay. What about your favorite television show of all time?
Oh, wow. You're killing me. Of all time.
You can throw out a couple if you got a couple favorites, because I don't know if I could narrow it down to one if I had to choose.
Justified.
Justified. Timothy Oliphant.
Yep.
Good show.
Yep.
Okay. What would you buy tomorrow if you won the lottery?
Oh, I would just make sure that my family is set.
Set everybody up.
I wouldn't.
You'd have cousins coming out of the woodwork if you.
I would.
If you made that announcement, people you'd never met in your life would say, "I'm a cousin to Denny Mills."
I would have more cousins than Donnie Shores. I really would.
Do you have a talent that maybe our audience doesn't know about?
I'm still looking.
You still looking for that talent?
Yeah,
Still trying
you
to
never
find?
get too
Well,
old.
you can play the guitar.
Well.
Not a bad guitar player. Remember you used to bring your guitar, play it at school
Oh,
sometimes?
yeah.
I remember one time you had your guitar at school, some kid brought a fiddle in. And Mark Hardy just grabbed the fiddle and started, I don't know that he'd ever played a fiddle, but he just started playing the fiddle. Now, he wasn't Charlie Daniels, but he was pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
He could play just about anything.
Yeah.
Okay. Most difficult job you had in coaching? Coaching baseball, basketball, baseball. What was the most difficult for you?
If I had to cut.
That
I
was the
just
most difficult part, was making cuts?
Hated, we had 12 uniforms and whatever, and I just hated to have to. In fact, I would tell a lot of them, you can stick around and practice, but, we just can't keep everybody.
Right.
Hey,
Okay.
I didn't like to cut.
Right. Who's your favorite all-time baseball player, professional player of all time?
Lou Brock.
Lou Brock guy.
Yeah,
Number
Lou Brock.
20.
Yeah.
Okay. Chad's favorite player, Joaquin Andujar. I thought you might go back with go old school with Joaquin Andujar or somebody. But Lou Brock's even more old school than Joaquin. So, okay, last question, sir. We're going to get you off the hot seat here. If you were a junior or senior coming to UniTec next year, what program would you sign up for?
Welding.
Welding.
Yes.
You were telling me that if you welded something today, it wouldn't stay together tomorrow.
It wouldn't. And I'm biased because of the history that I have with John.
Yes.
But, I've always had an interest in it, but knowing him like I would love to learn how to weld.
Welding. Okay. That's probably our most popular answer. Welding, maybe electrical. Those are very popular programs. They fill up every year. Denny Mills, who is a great guy, great teacher, great coach. Couldn't have a better friend. I just stopped by your house, about 2 weeks ago? I stopped and visited with you.
Yep.
Just made an impact on a lot of teachers, a lot of kids, a lot of administrators. I think a lot of people had respect for Denny Mills and a lot of those folks over there at Central. If you like this episode, be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the Hot Seat.